Hi, beauties. I'm so excited to share Anna's story with you today. Anna's story is one when she first came to work with me, she was terrified because she'd broken up with a man that she perceived to be her soulmate. She'd had a really deep and profound relationship with him, but she had never quite managed to be herself and really surrender to the connection between them and just, relax. She had just grown more and more insecure over time, trying to be perfect, trying to figure out what it is that he wanted her to be, trying to control things and just not lose him. And in the process, he kept pulling away, as men do. He started losing physical attraction for her, and the relationship really became stagnant, and they broke up. And so, she came to me with her fears, with her insecurities, just really, in a sense, having lost a sense of her power as an irresistible woman, and really in her masculine energy, with that agenda of trying to control the relationship instead of really connecting with his heart and with his soul as a feminine woman. It was an absolute pleasure to work with Anna. She is near and dear to my heart, and I am so excited to share her story with you today. My name is Jordana Tocacelli, and I'm an international dating, intimacy, and relationship expert and coach. And I've had the privilege of coaching thousands of women into attracting and finding that love or turning love around. And I coach really high quality men every single week. And I'm so excited to make this wisdom available for you. If nothing else, I hope that it connects with your heart and just really touches you and really kind of brings you back into that worth and power that you have as an irresistible woman. So without further ado, here's Anna's story.
Hi, sweetheart. How are you doing?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me.
I know. I want to thank you so much for coming today and just sharing a little bit of what it means to you to tap into your feminine heart and be true to your heart, and kind of what happened with your boyfriend. I know that when you first came to me, what was kind of happening in your relationship with your boyfriend?
So much confusion of what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
There was no clarity or self-awareness on my part of what was my part, and it just felt like this big puddle of really icky mess that I could not even see one sight of a way out. And I was so happy to find you, but then I had to really learn to look at my shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't we all? Don't we all, right? And how did you feel? Like, what were your fears in relationship at the time? Because I know these are the fears that all of us feel.
I was so petrified, like a little bunny, like in a field. I was so scared of being abandoned.
Yeah.
And I was so scared of not being good enough.
Yeah.
And having just no self-value or worth, and putting all of my energy into his opinion of me.
Wow. So, wow. I mean, we've all done, that's just amazing. I feel like all of us have done that. And so how was it playing out with you? Like, how did that look like?
It looked like a girl that couldn't be anything for herself. Like, everything that I was doing I was thinking, what would he think of this? What would, is this going to serve him? It was this constant going between mothering and then needing his approval in this way that was exhausting for me and my brain, but then was obviously exhausting for him.
Yeah. How was it I know, right? This happens so much. Like, women get married and all of a sudden it's just all these fears come up. When you're saying like, how do you think he felt it? Being with his girlfriend who was kind of like never being herself, right? Never kind of calm within herself and just herself, and was always kind of controlling everything, right? Like trying to be what he wanted.
Totally. And not even aware that that's what she was doing.
Yeah.
I think it was really heavy for him because as I wasn't clear, he then wasn't clear on what was happening. There was this sense of nobody knew what was going on. It just didn't feel good. It didn't feel light. It didn't feel easy. There wasn't that harmonious connection.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of really trying to understand, and it's impossible to understand someone else if that person doesn't understand themselves. It just felt really messy, and I was constantly in my head. So I was never in a space of embodying myself, and I was putting my passion and my love of life and my light, I was completely dimming it.
Yeah.
So it was only serving as adding to the chaos.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And why do you think that was?
I think I had created in my head this story that you attract a man into your life, and then once he's there, all of a sudden you have to bring these fears in. It was almost this conditional, now he's more important than me. Now I'm placing his life and his heart and his soul above mine. And it's obviously at this point, looking back, I see how backwards that thinking is. But in the moment, it feels like, well, this is what you do. If you love somebody, you think about them more than you think about yourself, or you worry about them, or
totally right.
You manipulate them almost. And you think you're doing it from this space of love and compassion, and really it's a space, for me, it was total fear and just needing to be validated by him every day.
Oh my gosh, been there. Yeah, that's amazing. And how do you feel about that? What do you think about that?
Well, through this process with you, it's taken me different stages, because there was a time where I started to feel I saw what I was doing, and then I was frustrated at myself. And then that wasn't the most helpful space to be in. And so now I'm kind of finally coming out of it and seeing that girl just needs me to support her, love her, as opposed to judging her for doing these things. She just doesn't know any better.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's been its own journey to really how I look at myself and how I view decisions I've made, to not hold a space of judgment with myself.
Exactly.
And it's a daily practice.
Yes, it is. It's a daily practice. It's a daily relationship, right? With ourselves. And how was because I remember, we would talk and you would say things like, how different your chemistry and connection, which was always there, right? There was always a soulmate attraction connection, but how even the polarity seemed to go, and the attraction, he wasn't coming after you and pursuing you as much, right? Can you tell us how that attraction had kind of died down, because you were more kind of like in a space of not being you, but trying to figure out what he wanted you to be?
Absolutely. Like you said, we had this initial soulmate spark and energy. And I think a mistake that I really made was just having that be something I took for granted, as opposed to knowing that it's an everyday space that I have to hold for myself, that I need to be inspired by myself, and I need to feel attractive, and I need to be radiating in my life. Otherwise, this partner is going to really feel if my energy shifts the other way. And the more I started to emphasize his life and his world, and doing it in a place of fear, his attraction completely changed. It went from being this really primal, I just need you right now, to a lot more like a younger child, almost a lot more needing love, but needing it from a space of not from a man needing a woman. And then that for me became this thing that I took on and decided that was about me as well. Added to my story of unworthiness, as opposed to stepping back and really seeing what was happening for him.
Yeah, for sure. And letting him have his own journey, and not kind of mothering him, right? Because when we mother guys, they become like children. I have a lot of wives that have emasculated their husbands, and then they wonder why their husbands no longer take initiative. They wonder why the attraction's completely gone out the window. You know what I mean? When did things begin shifting for you, when you really started to actually feel love for yourself and a certain peace for yourself? And when did things begin to shift?
Things, as they usually do, shifted when it got kind of to the breaking point.
Yeah, of course, right?
And I had reached out to you before, but then I think I thought it was all good. And I'm sure that's a very common thread, that you don't really put the work in.
Yes. Yes.
So when that real breaking point happened was when I looked around and said, shit, okay, I really need to not think I can control this myself, and not think that I can do this alone. And so working with you again was really the first and big catalyst to me being able to have tools to support myself, and then to take the space, to give him the time, to give myself the time. I just, baby steps every day, started to fall more and more in love with myself and my life, and feeling just a sense of wholeness without him that I'd never experienced before with any relationship. And I noticed my relationships with my family changed and my friendships changed. It's still an everyday ongoing practice, but now it's become this thing that I really enjoy and kind of crave.
Yeah.
I want to be in a space of self-acceptance and awareness and growth all the time.
Yeah,
I don't live with blinders on.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did you face the fear of, you went through the breakup and you went knowing that you had to both, get your own space and you had your process to go through. How did you deal with the fear of kind of letting him go, and just trusting that things were meant to be? Because I know that was really tough.
I think that actually getting to that place and looking around and seeing that I was alive, I was still breathing, I was okay, helped me put in perspective that the end of the world hadn't happened. And I was still breathing and good. And I don't know. I don't even know. I feel like I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really do. But I think the biggest shift happened around giving myself space to grieve and feel the sadness and feel unjudgmental. Is that a word?
Yes. Oh, it is now. It is now, baby. Okay.
Not having judgment of myself, feeling sad. And then I decided, I was like, I'm going to travel. I'm going to new things. I'm going to step into my own power again. And if our hearts are going to be together, they're going to be together. But I can't put a pressure. I can't put timing on this. Yes. And I want it to come from a space of, I want to be the woman that deserves this man. And I think he deserves to be the man that I deserve. And that was a big shift for me to realize, like, who do I need to be to attract that person? And I looked around and realized, I wasn't coming from that space. So
what space were you coming from?
A space of somebody who had really just given up on her passion and her light and her opinion. I felt like I had no opinion.
Yeah. And what do you think that did to him when you kind of became invisible like that and really needy and attached, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it emasculated him a lot.
Why?
Because I was stepping into this role of, I feel like I would flip between being a mother and then being a very kind of cliche doormat.
Yes.
Everything's okay and perfect. And I'm okay with everything. And in actuality there was so much pain and so much sadness that didn't even have anything to do with him, that I was just energetically like giving off. Yeah. And of course he can pick up on that. He might not even know what it is. Yeah. But there wasn't my spark, my vitality. I wasn't moving from that space.
Yeah. And here's the thing, so in a sense we could say you weren't showing up like authentically alive, real self.
Totally.
So could he show you his real self?
No.
Okay, can we talk about that?
Yeah. It absolutely put him in a position. It's like I was showing up as a masked version of myself. So then he is feeling this person that's not real. We've even talked about the change in our communication, that he couldn't really ever communicate with me the way he wanted to, because he felt like the words I was using weren't mine.
Weren't yours. It was the act, right? And I can relate to this because all of us women at some point in our lives have really liked a guy and tried to change who we are, even on the first date. You know what I mean? So when that connection to ourselves is gone, he does not feel connected to us, and he needs to feel three things, right? He needs to feel us beautifully connected to our heart, because men are in their minds. He needs to feel beautifully connected to us, and he needs to feel beautifully connected to himself with us. That's the beauty of feminine energy. It's connection. It's two people really well connected to themselves. And oftentimes men, because they're in their minds so much, that's the masculine, they aren't as connected to themselves on the inside. And so when they're with a woman and she's really connected, he gets to experience that on a much deeper level. So if the woman's showing up abandoning herself, right, to try to fit a persona to keep that love, he feels he has to pretend and act.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah. So tell us more. Like, how do you feel like so he's told you that he felt like the words weren't yours. Can you elaborate on that?
Oh God, yeah. I think communication has been a challenge for me because I haven't spent that time in a relationship with a man to ground myself prior. There was always this like, the relationship is more important than me, which again gives that energy of all the emphasis is on the relationship. So the words I would use would be not mine. They would be what I would think he would want to hear.
Yeah.
And that is really manipulative in a way I didn't even see before. But it did cause him to show up like 1 foot in, 1 foot out because he could feel me.
Yeah.
So
he knew you were there. He knew you were there. Yeah.
But he then had this mistrust of like, well, what's happening? Because there's something that I can't be free. I can't be this myself. I can't be vulnerable with her. I can't show up and, have my darkness and have my shit on the table. I don't know if she can handle it. And the truth was at that moment, I probably couldn't.
Yeah.
Because I had my own stuff. So it caused both of us to show up false for each other, which was really interesting. And it's been really like fun, actually fun. We've been playing around a lot with like unlearning this shit that we brought to each other. Like, what is this?
Yeah, right. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So you mentioned to me that you struggled. I mean, you are an absolutely stunning, gorgeous, breathtaking woman. Right. But I remember at the beginning of our coaching, you mentioning that, you struggled with that and you put a lot of your self-worth in the way that you looked. And, I think most of us women have been there. So when did that begin to shift where you were like, I still am happy to be beautiful inside and out, right? Like, it's not about just letting everything go, but when was that slavery of that self-worth of not connecting to your heart? When did that start to shift? What happened? How did that shift?
I'm like so excited about this topic, but I don't know how to say it without it sounding, it's going to sound hippy dippy. And that's just the sound.
Let's go for it. Yes.
Oh man, this shift around my skin being like my literal external skin kind of being this manifestation of how I felt about myself. I remember I would look at myself in the mirror and I could physically see the frustration I had with myself and the words I was thinking about myself, the hurtful things, I literally could see it like on my face.
Wow.
Which again sounds
No. Literally, I'm telling you, like when I do the inner work with women and they release all the pain and frustration, they look 5 to 10 years younger. I have seen this over and over and over. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, good.
Yes. No. This is dead on.
But so I was like looking in the mirror and I was like, what the, and like everything, even like I would have more cellulite, my skin, just everything about my external was this narration of me talking to myself in a space that wasn't compassionate, that wasn't loving, and wasn't empowered at all. So through that time of being separated, I was like, okay, what do you love? Mm-hmm. And for me, honestly, it's sunlight and the ocean. Yeah. Like I love that more than anything. So I decided that that's where I need to spend my time. And all of a sudden, my heart just like exploded. I just felt so beautiful in the water. Like I could just feel myself in this way that I hadn't experienced in a long time because I hadn't really put my emphasis there. And I would come out and I'd look in the mirror and I would just be like, damn girl, you look good. Good.
I love that. Yes. Owning it.
And the cliche, not the cliche, but the thing that just happened was that then my skin cleared up and
okay, wait, no, don't pass this up like something light. This is big. So how did you notice like even your skin shift? Because this is hormonal, when we have a ton of stress on the inside, emotional stress, our skin just looks terrible. So what did you notice with your skin?
I noticed that as I changed the conversation with myself, as I placed emphasis on the things that made me feel like as a woman, we feel, we're sensory creatures. Yeah. Feeling the sunshine, feeling the sand and feeling the ocean and just for me, that felt like home, and that felt like a really central place, and it's where I feel the most beautiful. So it's like, well, I need to be where I feel the most beautiful, or dancing, right? Like sweating and dancing. So I just dove into those two things. And then honestly, within about 3 weeks, I would look in the mirror and my skin was just like light and radiating. And I used to have like hyperpigmentation and dark spots, and like I don't have to wear any makeup at all.
Wow.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with makeup. I think it's fantastic, but it's so freeing for myself because I put that constraint of my looks.
Because you used to do a lot of makeup, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Totally. And I still love the idea of getting dressed up. I think it's fantastic.
No, totally. But no, I get the gist of what you're saying. It's that sense of you feel, and it's so beautiful because, we think that our emotions aren't written on our face. And then, I have a lot of men that I coach and they'll say something like, she was hard, or they'll say something like, there wasn't much light in her. And here you're seeing like a perfectly made up woman, hair, everything done. But they're not seeing her essence. So when our essence is abandoned, or when our essence is full of fear and anxiety, or full of self-rejection, or all this stuff, it's literally written on us, like you're saying. Yeah. So this must have been a real eye-opener, because I never told you that about what I saw about my clients. This is just something you noticed in yourself.
Yes.
Huge eye-opener.
I mean, and I was getting also, not only was I noticing it, but then I was getting responses from everybody.
This is what every client of mine tells me. Okay, tell me about all the responses. Tell me about all the guys, all the compliments. Oh, you told me, even about the women at your work. Tell me all about that.
So good. And I mean, it's so fun. And it's fun to feel like I'm in a space where when people give me a compliment, I'm like, yeah, thank you. Like, it's opposed to being like, no. I should just say, I totally take it. I love it. I don't need it, but I love it.
I know. Totally. I love this. So cool.
So at work was a really fun place to really see a shift in the people I was around, because that is something that you're with people all the time. And it's not that, I don't know, I feel like they have their preconceived notion of you. So then for them to all of a sudden have this like, who are you? What just changed?
Yes.
What's going on?
Yes. What would they tell? Okay, give us a play-by-play of some of the things that happened. Let's go with like the women at your work first.
One thing that really became apparent to me the more I was doing this work for myself is then women would just come and they'd want to just like hang out by me.
Yeah.
They just want to chill by me. And they would be kind of spewing their own stuff and their problems. I was just listening. Like I had nothing, I just wanted to listen. But then they would just look at me, and this is multiple women, different times.
Yeah.
Would turn be like, oh, I just feel better around you.
Yep.
For me, it was such an honor to be able to be that space for another woman.
But let's say this, honey, like, because this is what women don't get, that men are recharged simply by being around a woman who is herself and is in herself, not doing anything else. It's recharging. It's like energetically recharging, and it's like healing them.
Yeah.
And so you weren't doing anything to try to get these women to say anything. What were you doing? You're just being yourself? What were you doing?
Just working. Not even, it wasn't that I wasn't paying attention. I would walk into work. So obviously every day you're not going to be like perfectly in a lot.
And that's part of it. Yeah.
I would walk in feeling like myself and feeling beautiful and just wanting to just hold space of love for me. And I felt like that all of a sudden women were just responding with literally physically wanting to be right next to me.
Yeah.
Like I would have people like come stand really close to me.
Yeah.
It took me a second to really realize what was going on.
Yeah.
And then after the more work I was doing with you, the more I was able to see that what you just shared was what was happening with women. It's just like energetically, you holding your own space feels so good for somebody else.
Yeah, it's the most amazing feeling in the world. It's what every human heart wants more than anything. It's the sense of complete acceptance, because you are now in a state of complete acceptance within yourself. So anything that arises within you, you don't punish yourself, and even on the days that you might kind of fall back into that, you already have the tools to get you back into that space of acceptance.
Exactly. That's something that's been the biggest shift, is knowing that not every day you're going to be in this perfect place mentally, but to be kind and gentle with yourself on those days, and to have these tools that I can pick up and to not stay there, that's been incredible. It's almost like you get to see a really quick transformation. People talk about, how sometimes it can take so long to have like if you work out, right? Like, and it takes a long time to have this transformation. With this, it's felt like just this like crash whirlwind of literally being able to see proven results.
Yeah.
Like right in front of my eyes every day. I'll get to flip that script, and it's like so rewarding.
Yeah, it is huge. It's because that's what real intimacy with our own heart is, right? And then men feed off of the energy of acceptance and intimacy, and no punishment, and being real, and being okay with up and down days, and just being really real with yourself. So how did men begin to respond?
Oh my God, girl, I've had 2 guys tell me they love me.
Yes. I mean, I've had typical clients are like, I was on the second date yet, and he's already wanting to marry me. Is that normal? Yeah.
Yep. I've like a couple dates with a couple guys and told me they love me. I've had a couple marriage proposals.
Yeah.
It's just been ridiculous. Like,
it's ridiculous.
And there are things where in my head, I'm like, I still think I'm cute, but I'm like sweaty.
Yeah.
I just came from the gym. I'm like, a little bit of a hot mess. But
yeah, I love it.
These men are just like, you're the most fine thing I've ever seen. Like, I have to, what can I do to take you out? I will do anything. Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? And it's just this ease of leaning back. And like, I don't understand. You don't have to look for men. There's so many.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's crazy to really have that realization that there's no need to search.
Yes.
Ever.
Yes.
Because that shift that happens within you is a literal magnet. It's just like they will flood to you.
They will flood to you. It's like a magnet. So how was it before, right? Before you experienced chasing love and chasing men and grasping, right? It was like, what was the fear you were in?
Well, I felt like my hang up was that the beginning part I was kind of good at, because I wouldn't put their self-worth above mine.
Yeah.
So I was always like, okay at the beginning part, but the second I felt an attraction, or like I like this person, goodbye, Arlie's gone. He's like, needs, and is totally needy and crazy, and I'm analyzing all your texts and phone call for you. And so that was then the energy I would show up. And I think it was really confusing, because I think I would initially attract some people I was, and then totally change. Instantaneously, and people would be like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. Oh my God, totally. And that's emotional unsafety, because men are like, I thought you were one thing, now you're something different. Like, what's your agenda?
Right.
What's the game you're playing? Am I safe? Because how we as women hate it when men are like constantly trying to get us in bed without getting to know us.
Right.
They're always like, you're trying to get me into a relationship and you don't know me. So it's kind of the same feeling. So yeah, right. So now, how do you see men approaching you differently? Is it that they just feel like a magnet? Can you talk more about that? About just feeling like you're magnetizing them and just leaning back and receiving? Like, what is going on? What's happening?
Well, it's been so fun to just, to really see that I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
I don't have to be anything. I don't have to look a certain way. I don't have to even feel a certain way about that man. I can just be myself in that moment, present with myself. And then the man that comes into my line of vision and starts to speak with me, I feel like all of a sudden it's so sweet. I just feel like his eyes will kind of light up, and there's this ease, because I'm easy. Because
you're at ease. Your soul is at ease with yourself.
Yeah. I mean, every guy that is single and who to me is just like, okay, like how can I make this happen? Like, please, God, let me, I'll do anything.
Yeah.
And it's been It's been really fun.
Yeah, you tell me, man. That's just extremely fun. So how is it different before where, you were a hot, attractive chick that guys obviously were attracted to because, guys are attracted to hot women, to now it being a much kind of more potent magnetization of men? Like, what's the difference there?
The difference is that before I felt like there was this sense that I was attracting guys that I feel like they needed women that were wounded because they were wounded. And now the men that are coming into my life have shifted into these really incredible, what you would call high value men.
Yeah, I love that.
So
God, that's beautiful.
They're the men that, like, this one guy that I was going on a couple dates with, he was such an incredible human, and I don't think I would have attracted him before. And again, he's not my guy, but to have this quality of men just showing up as opposed to the wounded men that would show up.
And them not seeing you as a piece of meat, but then like seeing you as like a goddess, right? Can you talk about that shift? Like the energy of them approaching you in that kind of game playing attraction, kind of low value attraction, to now like, I'm a goddess fully embodied. Like how what's the difference there?
I think one of the biggest things was there wasn't actually a big emphasis on getting me into bed. There was like a really relaxed, patient. It wasn't that it wasn't voiced that they were so attracted to me, there wasn't.
You mean now?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're not trying to get you, like they want to get, like there's a patience and a respect. And you know why that is, honey? Men try to get you in bed quickly when they're not being nourished by something much deeper. Yeah. So they shift to that when there isn't the other stuff. But when a woman is in her feminine, in her heart, it's so enough that they're like dazzled by it.
Yes. That was even feedback that I received that I thought it was really beautiful to have someone share this with me. But he was like, I feel so free with you. We've been on 2 dates.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I've never felt this way. I feel so free. And I just want to be here in this moment forever. Like I don't need anything else.
This is home. That's the thing, like when you're a being that's free within itself, then you give that freedom. And men want freedom above anything else. It's the number one thing they want. They want the freedom to be exactly who they are. And so when they experience that with a woman, that becomes home forever. Okay, so now obviously you guys kind of separated, and now you have decided to pace it. You have decided not to jump back in and just to honor the process of getting back together with him, which is so strong because it would have been so easy to jump back in relationship with him. And so now, I mean, he must be dying because he's thinking my beautiful woman's become a goddess, and what's going on, and it's driving me crazy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say a lot probably. But okay, so you tell me, because we were talking about in relationship, him not feeling as much attraction. So when you created this shift, what did you see in terms of his desire for you?
Without getting too graphic here, it was, I'm trying to find the words because it was I felt it. I didn't even need him to say anything to me. I just saw the way he looked at me had turned from fear and tiredness to literally his eyes were like bursting out of his head and his whole body. I could just feel his energy. Like, if you don't come here right now, I'm going to explode. That, the sense I would, we'd see each other. I'd just walk in the door and I felt like he would need to hold on to something. And he would be like, I am so fucking nervous right now. I don't know what to do. Yeah. He's like, what you just are radiating, what's happening to you?
I know. I love it.
And when we first had that initial physical connection again, it was absolutely psychotic and beautiful and the most intimate and the most beautiful, yummy, and I don't even have enough adjectives to describe it.
I know, amazing, mind-blowing. And you even mentioned that not to get graphic, but your sexual connection, which it just went almost cosmic, it was something so much deeper. Can you just tell us a little bit about the connection that you felt in that with the shifts?
The thing that was really prevalent to me was that I was showing up in those intimate interactions with a block, which of course he was then responding to and showing up with his own block. So to remove that meant that for the first time in our 2 years, we were really seeing each other's hearts and coming together in a space of really like sacred lovemaking. And it wasn't something that you can just do or fake or like
go to classes for, you know what I mean?
Oh,
or go to techniques for, yeah.
No, it had to be that I stood on my own as a woman and did my own work and gave him the space to be a man.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever experienced anything more incredible than that.
There's nothing better than that.
No. I mean, it was every emotion was felt in such a real way. And I just remember us looking at each other, just really seeing each other for the first time in each other's eyes. And like, there was no bullshit anymore. And it was so beautiful because in that space, we loved each other more than we had with all of our preconceived notions and pretending and trying.
That's extremely beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I feel really grateful to have chosen to be brave enough to do this. And I feel like it's something that in the beginning, as a woman, you think it's going to be more, I don't know, I think I was afraid of doing the work. And I was afraid that the death of my old story would mean just the death of me fully. And to move past that has created...
You've gotten everything that you wanted at a level you never even knew you could.
Yeah, and there's so much more that's coming. And that's what's even crazier is it's like, this is just the freaking beginning.
It is, yeah, exactly.
And to not, for me, the old girl that needed that kind of attention and love, that would have scared her to have everything.
Yes, because what would that have meant? Who would be getting it? You know? Yeah, totally. So
that's been,
how would you describe in just one sentence for all the women longing for that connection with a man? How would you describe your love now?
Effortless.
Yes, I love that.
Real. Definitely passionate and equally easy. And yeah, there's like comfort and no pressure.
Do you feel his love for you? Do you feel like he has your back, or do you feel like he isn't devoted to you?
No, I feel like he would die for me over and over and over again. Not that I would ever ask him to, but he would throw himself.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, when men see a woman's heart and her femininity like that, and there's love and there's chemistry and attraction, man, they'll become the champions for that, the defenders of that, the protectors of that. It's just so beautiful. It's like, to them, it's like that peace that feels like home. So is there anything else you want to tell these women about being willing to do the work and being willing to heal themselves on the inside, or anything along those lines, to just encourage them?
Something that really shifted in me was really realizing that this is something that we all deserve to feel. And doing this work, I think, is probably the most important gift that we can give ourselves. It's not taught in school. It's not something that we grow up and learn from our parents. So we have to be brave enough and courageous enough to look elsewhere and find other incredible women, mentors, to help us, guide us back to our own home. And the initial beginning part, of course, it's going to feel a little shaky, but it's also the most gratifying. It's like a really good cry, where you're like, oh, you don't want to cry, then you cry and you feel so good. That's, to me, this is like, it's like we can pretend we don't want to cry all we want, but we have to really cry and we have to really sit in those feelings. And then all of a sudden the clouds part and you're left with who you really are, and you're going to love who you really are because you're probably really amazing. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. So what would you say to women thinking of coming on board and working with me, or coming to the school that's coming out in January?
Do it. I mean, nothing is better. Let me just give Gio a little shameless plug here. She's the freaking bomb. And I don't think I've ever had a woman see me and know me and call me out on my walls quicker and I'm going to use that word again, more effortlessly, because she's done the work. So I couldn't recommend working with someone more. I mean, I've told all of my girlfriends about it. I tell my family about it. And they see it, they see the proof, and I think it's one of the best things you can do for yourself. So I'm going to do the school. I want to do the training, everything. So I hope you all come along too, because it's probably the most badass sisterhood to be a part of.
Thank you.
Hi, beauties. I hope that you enjoyed Anna's heartwarming story, heartwarming love story. And, I just want to invite you to come join my free Facebook group called Irresistible Women, where I post daily content that I don't post anywhere else on love, attraction, dating, attracting your soulmate, understanding men, and a lot more. So you can just join us at our Facebook group, Irresistible Women. And if you click on the link below, you can also get my free webinar called The 3 Secrets of Highly Desirable Women. So it's a free webinar that you can listen that's got a lot of content in there that's also going to help you really align with your feminine energy and your power as an irresistible woman. It was so great to have you today. Thank you for spending your time with us, and I wish you an awesome day. I hope to connect with you soon. Bye-bye.